Hi, this is The Greatest Story Ever Played. My name's Dan.
My name's Jordan.
And we're here to talk about Star Wars Jedi Survivor.
Yep. Star Wars Jedi Survivor picks up 5 years after the events of Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. Cal must stay one step ahead of the Empire's constant pursuit as he continues to feel the weight of being one of the last remaining Jedi in the galaxy.
Awesome. And then production info for this. It's developed by Respawn Entertainment, who of course made Jedi Fallen Order. They're known for the Titanfall series, Apex Legends. They've done a lot of stuff. And actually, they're heading even deeper into the Star Wars world. They also have announced an upcoming first-person shooter in the Star Wars universe, and also a Star Wars strategy game. So, like,
what kind of strategy game? It's like, real-time, turn-based something?
I think it just said strategy. If it was turn-based, that would be fun. Or real-time. I guess it really either is I'd be interested in.
Yeah, I just don't know what other versions of strategy games are there. I'm sure there's lots. I'm just kind of ignorant.
Yeah, that's true. I would say I guess I've only played those two kinds of, like, a turn-based where it was like Mario and Rabbids Kingdom or what.
Pokemon?
Yeah, Pokemon. Yeah, that'd be that. Or real-time, like a Age of Empires or something like that.
Yeah. It'd be sweet if it was real-time.
Yeah,
I'd buy that.
That'd be cool.
Oh, yeah.
I'm intrigued by both of these because have you played Titanfall games?
Yeah, I played the second one.
My understanding is the shooting in that is like really good.
Yeah, it's sweet. It's awesome.
So I feel like them making a first-person shooter Star Wars game also sounds like a sign me up kind of situation.
Yeah, Titanfall was super fun. It was very good. I don't know if it was only for Xbox, but I played it when I had my Xbox.
I think the first one's Xbox only, but the second one is on like everything. Because I've thought about buying it because I'm like, I don't play tons of first-person shooters, but I'm like, if it's something where people are like, this is pretty cool, then I'm interested in that. And I think with Respawn, with these two games, they're making stuff I like, so I'd be interested to see what else they make.
Yeah, I have to look into those. I didn't know they were doing that.
Yeah.
It's cool.
Yeah, definitely cool. I'm glad Respawn is just in on Star Wars and think that's good, and look forward to all that. Cool. So I guess with that, we can hop into some non-spoiler thoughts, give us some general things about the game without kind of spoiling main stuff, but maybe give you a couple impressions. So what do you got?
I think just very, very generally, I did enjoy this, or I guess, I thought this was an overall better game than Fallen Order. I think there was more to do. It was longer, more in depth, I guess. Kind of just more of everything from the first game. So I think overall it was just a little bit better.
Yeah, for sure. I feel like they really built on the first game. Like if you're someone who liked the first game, then this like turns that up and says, we got more of that and more. And I think if for some reason you didn't like Fallen Order, I don't know that this will change your mind.
Yeah, no, I feel like you would not like it for the same reasons you didn't like Fallen Order. And yeah, I don't really know what you would get out of it if you didn't like the first one.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Yeah, I don't know that I guess if you didn't like it, I don't know that you'd be here.
It's true. You probably wouldn't even be listening to this podcast.
Yeah, or even like have played this one and been like, I'll give it a shot. Like,
yeah.
Because like, I guess with some series, it's like, okay, how are they like building on this series type? But this one is like, it's part 2. Like it's the next.
Yeah.
You know, it's
very
continuing.
Linked. Yep.
Yeah, super linked. So I think that's something. I guess similar to what you're saying, I thought this really built on like the gameplay from the first game in a fun way, because like in the first game, right, you're like leveling up and you're getting better at the Force and you're getting better at fighting, and here you don't come in like invincible or something like that, but you come in clearly better than you started the first game, which makes sense because Cal's been messing with the Empire for years now.
5 years.
Yeah, all of that. So you come in with that, and so some of the things you can do, but then you're still learning new Force stuff, adding new things you can do, being able to play around in the environment more, all of that. Like, I thought gameplay-wise, they took the cool stuff from before and were like, hey, we got more, and here's new stuff, which I thought was awesome.
Yeah, and one of the differences, too, is there's a hub world in this that's, like, a lot bigger than any of the planets from the first game or this game. So there's a lot more, like, exploration on that main planet, so there's like more secrets and stuff. It almost feels like more side stuff, I guess, objectively to do, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, no, that's true. There's definitely things on, definitely in the whole game, but especially on the hub world, that I didn't even do. Like, there were parts of the map that I probably didn't go to or only slightly traveled through.
Oh, also real quick, the map's a lot better. So,
Oh,
like,
yeah.
it
Oh,
gives
my
you,
God.
it's way better than the first game. So
Good
if
call.
you liked the first game but hated the map and didn't want to play it because of the map, they fixed it.
Good
But,
call.
yeah, 90% fixed it. There's still a little bit of wonkiness, but
There was one level where I had some weird stuff with the map where I was like, where the fuck am I? But that was really rare, and it was I figured it out much quicker and was a million times less frustrating than I think like level 2 or whatever it was on Fallen Order, where you just get really fucking lost and you're like, what is
there's
going on?
Is that worth the caves in the first game?
Oh, and they have fast travel now.
Yeah, other than not in the first one, I don't remember that. Oh, you're right, they didn't, yeah.
Because when you went through the caves, you had to
You
go
had to
back,
go all the way back.
and you're like, fuck, where am I?
Yeah, that shit it didn't suck, but it was
Super
annoying.
It was annoying.
Yeah.
Well, it sucked because your navigation was bad. If your navigation wasn't bad, it probably would have been okay. So those are definitely huge improvements, I would say. Something I will say on maybe the more pro Fallen Order side is, although this had the hub world like you talked about, I liked the planets in the Fallen Order more than the planets here. Not that the planets here weren't good, but they didn't feel as memorable in my mind as the planets you go to in Fallen Order, where you're like, here's this place, and they did make them really unique, where it was like, okay, this one looks like this, and this one looks way different and stuff, but I don't know, they felt more memorable as planets to me, whereas these planets, I don't know, probably in 6 months I won't remember the names of the planets, largely.
Yeah, I agree. I think they threw more into the hub world and then less into the planets, and unlike the first game where there was no hub world, it was just
Yep.
well, there's sort of not. I wouldn't say there's a hub world.
Not
There's a
much.
planet you went to the most, but it wasn't.
It wasn't like
More-
this one's main planet.
Yeah, it wasn't bigger by any means. See, I think you're right. I think they threw more into the planets in the first game. I think you can kind of you feel that a little bit as you play through. They feel smaller and less important than in the first game. Like each planet feels really good, like really important in the first game.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah, for sure. And I guess that some of that was probably chosen by the kind of story they told here, because this one, like, you are focused in an area, whereas in Fallen Order it did feel like, you were more traveling around the galaxy.
Yeah.
So they did, some of that is probably story reasons too, even. But yeah, I'd say that was something. I'll say also, I guess, so I thought this game, which we'll talk about in a second, but had a great opening. I was totally hooked in the beginning, and just like Fallen Order, I remember feeling the exact same way when you first meet Cal and first run away from people, and had like a really cool opening level. So
Yep.
2 for 2 on these. I feel like both of these games have had a hook right in the beginning, where I've come in, especially with Fallen Order, I was like, I hope this is good, but I didn't know what I was getting into. But I was like, oh, cool. It's, quote unquote Souls-like combat plus Uncharted coming into the first game. I was like, sick. This sounds fun.
Sold.
Yeah, I'm interested. And then this time coming in being like, all right, I like the last game. I'll probably like this one. But then it just like, I was like, normal tempered, maybe excited. And then after this first level, I was like, oh, I'm in.
Yeah.
Like it totally hooked. So yeah, great job Respawn on two great openings that made me want to play the game.
Yep. Agreed. 100%. Yeah. I think this. Well, I guess I can't say this opening was better than the first one, but I guess you just get to see more of like, all right, Cal's kind of sweet now. Like, he's actually pretty powerful, which is cool.
Yeah, definitely cool. I think I like this opening more, which we'll get into why, but I not that I think they're like 1A, 1B. They're both very close. But
Yeah.
I would say also 2 of the better openings for games that I've played in general, probably. Just because like that hook just felt really in there.
Yeah.
Like if you were watching a TV show and it had a great first episode and you're like, oh, I gotta watch the show now. Like that's what those felt like to me.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of games that have had similar or better. Can't really. Ghost of Tsushima's was pretty sweet.
Ghost of Tsushima had a good one. Last of Us's opening was good.
Yeah. Yep. Oh yeah, that's really good.
Uncharted 2 had a really good opening, if I'm remembering right. I think it's 2. That one was pretty great. But there've been good ones, but even thinking about these, I think that this is going to be one that really stays.
For sure.
Nice. Do you have any other stuff you want to say before we hop into?
Nope. No non-spoiler thoughts, at least.
All right. Cool. All right. We'll hop into our recap and kind of talk through this game. This is spoiler filled, of course. So if you haven't played or care about spoilers, aren't finished, whatever, hop off and come back, and we'll do kind of our deep dive into the game itself. All right. Cool. So the game begins, and we find out that Cal has a new crew. So in Fallen Order, also at the beginning of this game, you can do you get a little recap of what Fallen Order was, which I thought was helpful.
It's been a while since we played it.
Yeah, we probably 3 years, something like that. It's been a minute. So that recap was good. And there were some things that I still had in my head, but there were other ones that I was like, oh yeah. But you had your old crew with like Seer, Marin, Grease. You were a crew by the end of the first game. And the way the first game left, I was like, oh, I wonder if we're going to end up in like a Mass Effect situation where you have your crew and you're doing stuff. This game starts 5 years later. No, not at all that. Instead,
we had the same ship.
Had the same ship, but that's it. We still had the Mantis, but we've got a new crew. We've got Gabs, we've got Coob and Liz, Bode, and Bravo. So this is Cal's group of folks that he's doing missions with, and what they're doing is they're going to Coruscant to steal information from this senator. So this senator has some prized information, and so Cal is like, all right, well, I'm not going to be able to get to him under normal circumstances, so what we're going to do is we're going to pretend like I got captured, and then I'm going to be there and I'll be able to get this from him.
Risky maneuver.
Yeah, definitely risky, and maybe even shows that Cal's gotten cocky, I'd say. Like, this seems kind of stupid, like, of a move. Like, it doesn't seem like a total, like, I think he knows it's a risky plan, but it might be more stupid than he thinks.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, you definitely get the sense that he's like, well, as the dialogue and stuff goes on in this intro, like, or he's been like really fucking with the Empire for a long time, and he's kind of like sort of famous, I guess. Like, people know about him, so he's kind of like, oh yeah, I can do this and get away.
Yeah, that's true. He seems like he could be legitimately like a public enemy #1 for the Empire, like Cal Kestis posters on the wall kind of thing. Like, people want him. That he's done enough, and I imagine that there is probably some of like Cal's like, yeah, I'm that guy.
Yep, that's me.
Yeah, that's me. And so he gets in front of the senator, and then he reveals, "Ha, just kidding. You didn't have me. I caught you."
Yeah.
Basically, kind of chaos ensues. Coruscant is like an Imperial occupied place, but it's not like a base necessarily.
Yeah.
So
I think it's where the Jedi Temple used to be. I think. Yeah, pretty sure.
Okay. So some fighting ensues. You have to make your way into a ship because the senator's ship like basically gets stunned.
Yeah, you like fry its system.
Yeah.
Circuits. Some like science Star Wars word for it, and then it can't fly. It's like stuck. It's just kind of floating, and it's like in neutral, just moving.
Right. So then you and your crew kind of get into action of, okay, we need to break into there. Then we'll break into the senator's chamber and get these codes. And you do manage to do that ultimately. And you meet the crew a little bit along the way, like your crew, and then you get the information from the senator and you don't kill him, right?
Yeah, you like take him hot. You're gonna give him to, because you're working for Saw
Gerrera.
Yeah, he's in the first game.
Right.
He's like the resistance leader against the Empire. So you're like, you get some background, like you're working kind of with/for him. And your crews, you've been with your crew for a while, and you've been like doing stuff for Saul. And this is a mission he's given you.
Yep. So you're kind of wrapping that up, but then the Ninth Sister shows up along with a bunch of Imperials. Ninth Sister, I thought we'd killed in the last game.
I thought so too, but I guess you don't actually see her die.
Right. So she's back. And it's like kind of total chaos going on in this. When she shows up, your crew is unsuspecting. So in this, Gabs, Coob, and Liz all get killed. I mean, you're seeing your crew just get slaughtered.
Yeah, and which is I was surprised by.
Yeah.
Like, it's like, oh damn, I thought you were gonna be with these people for the whole game.
That's what I thought too. And even when one went down, you're like, okay, we're getting hit. And then you're like, oh my God,
Yeah.
we're getting hit.
Yeah.
They all get killed, but then you have kind of a mini boss battle, I'd say, with the ninth sister. And you actually kill her this time.
Yep.
Chop her head off, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's like a mercy kill kind of
Yeah.
type of thing. But yeah, Cal kills her for sure.
Cal kills her, though. You all get to separate ships, so Cal, Bode, and Bravo are escaping. Then TIE fighters kind of pursue you. Bravo's ship gets hit a little bit, and then ultimately he gets exploded as you escape. And so you get away in the Mantis. The Mantis is pretty hurt. And Bode goes a separate way. He's the only crew member to make it out with you. And he goes somewhere else so that you guys aren't easier to track, kind of thing. Wild opening.
Yeah, then the game starts.
Yeah.
You're like, your crew's dead, your ship's damaged. Like, well, what now?
Right, yeah. You just totally saw your mission blow up in your face. What are you going to do? You've lost all your people. Like, what a hit. That was pretty wild. So, from here, Cal goes to try to find Grease. He's in Kobo and has set up a cantina there. So he's like, all right, maybe I can get in touch with him. Maybe he can help me with the Mantis since it was his old ship, get some repairs, and maybe he can link me to some new allies. You get there. You find out that the Bedlam Raiders are there, who are kind of your criminals of this world, essentially.
They're just like a gang that terrorizes the world and kind of other places nearby too.
Right. Yeah. And they're headed up by a guy named Ravis, who looks like Thanos.
He does look like Thanos.
That was all I could think about the whole time.
He's like a big purple guy that looks like Thanos in a bunch of like metal armor.
I haven't even seen those Avenger movies, and I just think of Thanos when I saw him.
He does look like him. He looks more froggy than Thanos, but he looks like Thanos.
Yeah, that was just all I kept thinking about. I was like, fucking big dumb Thanos.
Big dumb idiot Thanos.
Yeah. But you meet him, and he's going to hurt one of the locals named Turgle, who's this little frog guy.
Yeah, frog. I feel like a weird frog slug guy.
Yeah.
Mixture.
Yeah, who's a total goof. Ravis is about to kill Turgle for selling like a fake artifact. Turgle's like, I didn't mean to, I didn't know. And so you step in because I think being a Jedi, it seems like you don't let injustice go on, so you step in for the little guy kind of thing.
Yep.
And you fight one of his like lieutenants. You beat him, and Ravis is like, "All right, fine. I'll leave peacefully. You fought well. You earned it. You earned it. I won't hurt Turgle." You then reconnect with Grease. You ask about your old crew, and Grease doesn't really know where everyone is. He's like, "I've tried to keep contact, but I can't really find anyone." I think he'd seen Seer at least since you had. It sounded like he'd seen people more recently than you had after you all split, but...
Yeah, because I don't think Cal had seen anyone since they split.
Yeah.
Grease knows where Seer is on Jeddah, which...
Yeah.
We'll talk about that later, but I think that's the only person he really knows where they are.
Right, and he's only talked with her like a little bit, too. It's still been... It sounded like a few years since he'd seen her either. But, yeah, it seems like Cal is more distant from everyone than anyone else.
Yep.
In this kind of little meeting. Grease says, though, that he can help repair the Mantis if he can find the parts. And then Bode ends up rejoining you here and is around. Cal goes searching for parts through kind of this underground part connected to the cantina.
Yeah.
That...
It's like an old smuggler... cave thing that Grease just stores a bunch of broken ships and parts in. So he's like, you can find the whatever warp drive or Star Wars science term for that you need to fix the ship.
Yeah, he
down
says
there.
Yeah, he says you might be able to find it here.
Yeah.
And while he's looking, he comes across a droid named Z.
Well, he falls into this really old Jedi temple.
Yeah, because it's under stuff.
Right? Yeah, it's like underground, and he like falls through the ground and falls into the temple randomly, and then finds the droid.
Right, because Grease's kind of cavern thing he has basically seems really big, and he's like, I haven't really explored it all. Like, there's probably other old stuff back there from longer, if I don't have it, you could maybe keep looking backwards and find it. And then, yeah, you're right. He falls through and sees this droid that's stuck, and he frees it, and he finds out that its name is Z, and it's from the High Republic era. So this is an old droid. And you find out that it belonged to Centauri Kree, who was an old Jedi Master.
Mm-hmm. I think it was from 200-ish years ago.
Yeah.
Something like that. I feel like they'd tell you, but I don't remember.
Yeah, to be honest, my eras of Star Wars isn't strong.
Yeah.
When it comes to really understanding Star Wars.
Yeah.
I would say mine are it's before this movie or not.
Yeah.
That's
before when there was all the Jedis and there was not all the Jedis. Before Order 66 and after Order 66. That's my main two things, but
right.
This was definitely before.
Yeah, this is old Star Wars or old Jedi stuff for sure. Z, though, was given this device that could help you lead you to Tanalorr, which is this hidden paradise planet. Cal is like, okay, well, I can kind of carry on your mission, and takes that info. But also, this kind of awakens one of your big questions through the rest of this game is, all right, what is Tanalorr? How do you get there? Mm-hmm. I mean, this could be huge. If we could hide from the Empire, wow.
Yeah, because it's like this planet inside this crazy abyss thing in space that you can't get through
right
without something special. And then basically it's like if there was a multiverse, it'd be in a different universe, sort of. It's not actually that way, but it's it's separate from the normal galaxy, kind of.
Right. It seems like it's not like you could fall into it on accident.
Yeah.
Like a thing like that. Like it could truly be a hidden paradise.
Yeah, it's you have to go through this weird wormhole. You couldn't just go around this abyss and get there. You have to go through it for some reason.
Right. And that you couldn't stumble your way into it either. It's not it's not simply something that's just well hidden. It's more than that.
Yeah.
And so really that really sets a big focus for the game kind of going forward of if you could find this. I mean, the Empire. It sounds like, too, that you get from Cal's kind of dialogues up to this point is that, the last 5 years, the Empire's just gotten stronger.
Yeah.
And, I think Cal and other people are resisting as much as they can, but also it still seems like you're, making a small dent on a giant thing that you can't beat.
Yeah, and I think...
and that they will find you.
Yeah, and I think his idea, too, I don't know if this is initially his idea, but he's we could start a new Jedi Order, and there's a temple. You find out there's a temple on this planet because I don't want to say too much before we get there, but essentially you could maybe rebuild the Jedi Order in peace and then come back and try to fuck shit up with the Empire.
Yeah, and I guess that's a good point. We'll get more into them as they go, but that there starts to be what could Tanalorr be. At first you just know hidden paradise, but then what hidden paradise means to you and other people as this goes on really can vary.
Yep.
What that can be like. So, yeah, that's big. Z's mission, though, was to unlock this forest array. So it's getting a satellite, essentially, shooting a beam. And so Cal does this. And when he does this, this allows a Jedi Knight from back then named Dagan Gera. You find him kind of in this same section.
He's in this
He's in a big tube.
Hyperbolic tube, in this liquid with a breathing mask on. Mm-hmm. He's in suspended animation, kind of, in a medical coma, preserved.
Yeah, yep. It kind of looked, I think at the beginning of Empire Strikes Back, Luke was in something like this after the being left in the cold for a long time. I don't know if you remember that. I think Luke was in something sort of like this.
Is that when he's... Talking about when he's inside the animal?
No, after that. But yes.
I think I know what you're talking about.
I think he was in something super similar to this. But yeah, so Dagon's in there, and you're like, oh, maybe I'll wake this dude up. And so you click something in it, bring him out of this. And Dagan Gera is missing an arm, and he's like, who are you? And you're like, I'm trying to rebuild the Jedi Order. And he's like, I hate Jedis. And he fights you.
Eventually, at first he's you figure out, he is a Jedi. Mm-hmm. You're from the High Republic? Oh, that's crazy. We can fight the Empire together. And then he's like, actually, I'm glad they're gone.
He's like, you let him win. You're a bad Jedi. Also, I hate you now.
Yeah.
And decides to fight you. So
you're
like, yeah. Not that Jet and Cal knew who he was, but it was a very don't meet your heroes situation. You're like, oh, okay. You were a Jedi, but you're still a dick.
Yeah, that's a pretty shitty Jedi.
And so you find out that Dagon has gone to the dark side.
You just like see him. He like bleeds his crystal. That's what they say.
Yeah.
And Cal said, don't bleed your crystal.
Yeah. He fights you, and then Ravis shows up, and Dagon jumps on Ravis' ship, and they head off.
Yeah, and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah, you're like, all right, what's going on?
Yep.
So, definitely weird. From here, you go back to Grease's cantina, and you talk with him and Bode, and you're like, all right, a lot of weird stuff has happened. Tanalor, this is cool. Also, Jedi, who's bad from 200 years ago. What's happening? And Grease is like, all right, I think we gotta talk to Seer.
Agreed.
And you're like, yeah, that'd be good. Maybe she knows what's up. And so you head to another planet called Jeddah to find her. But you can't land where Seer is because there's this big dust storm going on, and it's just too dangerous. So they direct you to land kind of somewhere nearish by that's safe, where you can kind of lay low while the sandstorm goes. And Cal is going to go on foot to meet Seer's contact. Then when they get that together, they'll be able to come back and connect everyone, and the dust storm will hopefully be gone. So Cal heads there on his own, and he meets the contact. It's Marin. So Marin's back as well. You catch up with her, and you find out that she has, at least somewhat recently, reconnected with Seer. It sounded like she was off kind of doing shit like you were. Just kind of causing chaos for the Empire, trying to save people, trying to do good.
Yeah, and eventually she finds this group called the Hidden Path, which is like rescuing survivors and Jedi from the Empire and like getting them to safety. So that's kind of what she's up to.
Yeah, the Hidden Path seemed to be just like another kind of group of rebels of sorts. Like they don't seem the same as Saw Gerrera's crew.
Yeah, it's more like we're not fighting the Empire. We're like trying to stay hidden path.
Yeah,
in the Empire to save people.
Yeah,
but not like directly oppose.
Yeah, they seem more like, it doesn't seem like they won't fight, but they seem more on saving as opposed to attacking.
Yeah, they're not like trying to bring the Empire. Well, yeah, I guess not directly trying to bring the Empire down. They're trying to keep people from being killed by the Empire. That's kind of roundabout.
Yeah. I think so. They seem. I would think they'd be lower priority on the Empire's list. You know, like Saw Gerrera's. I feel like the Empire would be like, they're terrorists. We have to fight them.
Yeah.
These people would be like, we also don't like them, but maybe it would be something more minor.
Yeah.
Would be sort of the vibe. Together, though, you catch up with Naren, and you fight some Empire soldiers, kind of. I guess also, Kobo and Jeddah are both more like sandy planets.
Yeah, Kobo's...
they're both kind of like a Tatooine situation.
Jeddah's really, really... It's like a desert. Kobo's more like... kind of mountainous.
Yeah.
Deserty for sure, but there's like water and there's some plants and stuff. I'm trying to think of it's more like kind of, if you live in the United States, it's like kind of out west.
Yeah.
Like, not... I don't know. I can't think of...
No, you're right. I do think it is more like a out west California, Colorado sort of thing.
Yeah.
Where there is some sand, but you're right. It's not all sand. Jeddah is like Tatooine. Jeddah is like Tatooine.
Jeddah's like the desert.
Yeah. Once you get to Seer's base, though, you find out she's been working with Eno Cordova.
Who I thought was dead.
I did too.
But I guess you never see him die. You just know he like tells BD1 to wait for someone.
That's why I thought he was dead, because of that.
Yeah, it seemed like he did die.
You got because in Fallen Order, BD1 gives you a message, not the same, but sort of like your Leia's one of Obi-Wan Kenobi, you're my only hope. You get a message sort of like that from Eno Cordova on BD1, and you're like, oh, you're alive.
I want to go back and look at that. Did you? I
didn't, but
yeah, I swear he's dead, but he must not be. Otherwise, they would have terribly made a mistake here.
No, yeah.
I kind of wonder if this is one of those, like, they started developing this game. They're like, oh, we actually never said he was dead. we can add him into this game.
Yeah, well, and I guess it makes sense with... So, when you get there to the base, you find out that Seer's with Eno Cordova, and they have been working with Hidden Path, who they got connected with by Marin, but then also they've been trying to rebuild the Jedi Archives. Mm-hmm. So it seems like if you were to say Cal's crew, 5 years ago, I don't know, they split 5 years ago, but sometime after then, they split. Mm-hmm. Cal does renegade shit with his crew. Marin does Hidden Path stuff with her crew. Seer finds Eno Cordova. They're just Jedi archiving. They're like, we want to be able to build a new Jedi Academy someday, and we'll take all this info to be able to do that. And then Grease, Base Cantina, and lays low. So that seems like kind of where everyone's been.
Yep.
You let them know about Tanalorr, and they're like, hey, I have a solution that might help all of our problems. Have you ever heard of Tanalorr? The Hidden Paradise Planet. Uh-huh. Everyone's like, what?
Yeah.
And so it's become kind of all of these things, like we were talking about earlier. A place to be safe from the Empire. Oh, we could train new Jedis. People who are being oppressed by the Empire, we could find a place safe for them. Like, all of these things kind of true for these different groups. And so we kind of have the gangs back together again for this plan.
Mm-hmm. It's a good plan.
Yeah. So now, all right, we know about our magic planet, but where the fuck is it?
Yep. Also, what's up with this Dagon dude? And
yeah. Also,
I think at some point, Z gives you the message from Centauri Kree, who's like, the key to Tanalorr is in this forest array, which ends up being Dagon. So you're like, how is he the key? And then you kind of go from there.
Yep. Yeah. So one part of that, I think probably in her message that we see from Centauri Kree, is Cal learns that Dagon had betrayed the Jedi Order, that they wanted access to Tanalorr, and he said no, and tried to fight them. Or no, they didn't want access to it. They thought Tanalorr was stupid.
I think what happened was, so they were building a Jedi temple there, and there was a bunch of Jedi there, but then Tanalorr got attacked somehow by this 200 years ago crazy foe, and then they abandoned Tanalorr, and he was pissed.
Right, because he thought this was the most important thing.
Yeah.
The Order didn't, and so then he fought them for his belief.
Yeah, I think he killed a couple Jedi, and then something happens, and he ends up in that frozen tank. Chamber thingy tank thing. Yeah.
Yeah, he ends up in there. So you don't know. You know it went bad, and then he's there. But kind of the full process, you're like, I don't know.
Yep.
Also in this, Cal and Marin go look for a member of the Hidden Path who has these secret codes that can't fall into Empire hands. The Empire's found this one Hidden Path location, and so you go there to get those codes so that everyone's cover isn't blown.
Yeah.
Get to fight the Empire a lot. I think this was a section where I force pushed a lot of people off those tall ledges, dude, which was fun.
Anytime someone's in your ledge, I'm like, oh, you're gone. You're dying.
Super fun to push. I force pushed so many people off ledges in general, but also I think in this spot specifically, it happened a lot because there was just a lot of ledges. There
was a few times they just kind of had a guy or two just kind of talking to another guy or themselves next to a ledge, and they're like, all right, push this guy off. The game's like, all right, go ahead, come on.
Yeah, you want to, and you're like, I do want to.
Absolutely. Did you ever pull him towards you, then throw him off?
Oh yeah,
that was really fun too.
That was fun too. Or pull him towards and just stab him.
I did that a lot. Yeah, I like to do that mid fight. I'd be fighting. That'd be you're fighting 10 guys. You fight one guy on and you turn to your left, just pull some guy and stab him, then keep fighting the other guy. Yeah, what's up?
It's so fun.
Yeah, that was very fun.
Yeah, I think that's something that, unfortunately, in a recap, you missed, but a lot of the fighting in this was very fun. Mm-hmm. Also, in the other game, there's various kinds of stormtroopers and Imperial bad guys. So you have your standard stormtrooper. You've got ones with machine guns. You
got your melee.
Yeah.
Stormtrooper. You got your base version of each of them, then you got the quote unquote elite version, then you got different flame troopers and flying guys.
Yeah.
Overall, a lot more variation in enemies in the first game.
Yep.
I would say.
And then also outside of the Empire, it's you had your Bedlam Raider with those versions too, where it would be melee, blaster, maybe a heavier weapon, something like that.
Yeah, and there was bounty hunters you could track down that had different weapons. And there was dudes with lightsabers, too. Like, some of the, I think Bedlam Raiders got lightsabers from Kagan somehow. So, yeah, there's a lot of variation.
Yeah.
There's different, like, animals you could fight on Kobo and other places that were pretty hard.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, lots of stuff.
Yeah, they gave you a lot to fight. And even different ones. I felt like as the game went on, I can't think of a specific example offhand, but as the game went on, when there'd be a group of people I'm fighting, I would have certain ones I'd want to kill first because they gave me problems. So I was like, all right, I want to kill that guy first because I hate fighting these guys. I
always kill the guys with the flamethrowers first because you couldn't block it. You just had to...
Right, only evade.
Yeah, only evade or I would just throw them into each other. That was fun.
Yeah, I think that those were who I would kill first. Or, yeah. So that was big. After you get the codes, you get them from that guy and he dies and you get away. Then you have probably one of the craziest gameplay moments in the game where Marin and Cal are like really getting honed in during this attack. Like Empire troops are everywhere, ships are coming. Like, I mean, it's...
There's this giant drill thing too.
Yeah.
I forget what they call it, but it's like this big like reverse squid thing with like big long, super long legs and like this big like drill laser thing, and
it's cool.
It's crazy. Yeah, it looks like that thing would destroy planets.
Yeah, it's super cool. It makes sense that the Empire would use this when they're like, basically destroying a location kind of thing. Like
just send in the thing.
Yeah.
I forget what they called it, but
yeah, I don't remember either. It was cool though. But right before, as it's like going, like you have a moment where like, are we both gonna die? Like it sort of feels that way. Mm-hmm. And Marin's like, "Nah, I got you," and she gives you this device that essentially lets you like hop through force fields. It makes you like maybe invisible for a second almost.
Yeah, I'm not sure how it works.
I don't know how it works either.
The thing where you like dash through them, kind of.
Yeah. It seems like it's some sort of magic thing, since she does a lot of magic from
she's got her, like force witch magic. It's something related to that for sure.
Yeah, and so like she gives it to you and is like, "Do you trust me?" or something, and then gives you a kiss, and then you hop through these force fields, and you're evading this drill, and you have like, legitimately, it felt like a 10-minute scene of just like jumping through force fields, fighting, running, like. Wall running off of a thing, like, I mean, it's total chaos.
Yeah, it's like, you're like wall running off falling debris while, jumping through these force field portal things while dodging, like, the tentacles, while dodging fire, and then while, like... Yeah, it was just, like, nuts.
Oh, and I guess also, right, you could travel through force fields, but then also, like you brought up, there were these, like, wormhole things essentially, or portals that
because she'd like make them.
Yeah, she'd make portals, so it like turned this game into Portal.
Low key.
Where Marin would be like, "Here's a portal," and then we'll pop out over here.
Yeah,
and you'd be like, "All right, you hop through this and you show up somewhere else." Like, I mean, it was really, really cool.
Yeah, and it's all like split second. Like, all right, you're jump through this portal. Mm-hmm. There's another one. You got about 2 seconds to like go through it first. Before you get like killed or miss it or is.
Oh yeah,
that's pretty crazy.
I mistimed a number of these and died.
Dude, me too. I think this took me a while. Took me a few tries.
Yeah, it took a minute, but also it was like really satisfying as it was going. And then once you got through, like they were like, "Whoa, we made it!" And, like I felt the same way. I was like, "Holy shit!"
Yeah, that was nuts.
That was really cool. I feel like that was one of the cooler gameplay things I've experienced, just because it was just so wild. Mm-hmm. Like. It just felt wild the whole time. Yeah,
it felt very much like, I don't know, you're like a Jedi with like really good reflexes and you're just like going through this shit. And you're like, this is how it would be.
Yeah. Yeah.
That was cool.
It was really cool.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, so that was awesome. Finally, you get to a spot where you also find out after this that Z had got captured by the Bedlam Raiders. Dagon was trying to get the information regarding Tanalorr from Z. Z doesn't have any of this information though.
They wiped her memory.
Because her memory got wiped before
they evacuated Kobo.
Yeah, because you weren't able to get all the information from her either, right?
Yeah, because
like when you first met her, she didn't know something.
No, she didn't know anything. She just knew the forest array was important and to go there.
Right, because Centauri Kree had wiped it back then.
Yeah.
In case she got captured, it was like, here's the one thing you need to do. You don't know anything else.
Yep.
For your own sake.
Yep.
And so, Bedlam Raiders are trying to get an info from Z and would just destroy her if it wasn't given. And then you end up having another boss fight with Dagon, and he escapes again during it. So, again, another boss battle, but then he sneaks off.
How does he escape this time? I don't remember. This one I kind of forget.
I don't remember either.
I remember I beat his ass, but I don't
Yeah.
know how he got away.
Yeah,
Slithered away this time.
Yeah, maybe he jumps out a window or something like that. I don't remember.
Oh, he like breaks the platform and like falls, or you fall or something.
That's right.
And then you like, the Force teaches you a new
That's right.
thing. I forget how it
Yeah.
is, but essentially he gets lucky.
Yeah. The platform, I think you're right, the platform breaks. Maybe you fall out of the fight.
Yeah, I think so. Then he
just
scampers off.
Yeah, he heads off.
He's scared. He's real scared.
So, within kind of your research, through all of this, you find out that there's a compass. And essentially, if you have this magic compass, it has a better Star Wars name than I would give it, but it's essentially that if you have this compass, that will be able to help you get to Tanalorr because it can read Tanalorr.
Yeah, it somehow like gets you through the abyss.
Yeah.
It's some metal-looking tube. I don't know. Sometimes they open it and they're like, "Oh, it's working." I'm like, okay.
Yeah.
It must be working because I said so.
Right.
To me, it looks like just a piece of metal.
And so you head to the Shattered Moon that is outside of Kobo. While you're there, you kind of fight your way through a bunch of Bedlam Raiders who are also there because Dagon sent them there to look for the compass also. You fight your way through all of them, and you end up in a boss fight with Ravis, who you find out is like also super old. That he had been in a fight with Dagon years ago, and Dagon won, and so Ravis had to like pledge allegiance to him, essentially.
Yeah, you find out he's some weird like race of alien that's, I forget how they describe him, but he's like really hard to kill, lives forever, kind of. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So you boss battle him, you win, and Ravis like wanted a warrior's death. Like you tried to be like, all right, help me take out Dagon. He's like, no, please, I just want to die. No, all right, fine.
Yep.
And so you kill him. Ravis is dead. After this, you have another boss battle with Dagon, your final one. This time, though, it's Cal and Bode. And in this battle, like, it gets wild for a minute. There's a part where Bode gets knocked out, and a part where you get, like, hit with the lightsaber on your chest.
Yeah, it looks like you're, like... So, yeah, Dagon does some weird Force thing where he, like... It's like a Force hallucination, I think Cal describes it as. Yeah, but, like, Dagon, like, hits him across the chest. Looks like Cal's gonna die, for sure. And then he somehow, like, reverses it on Dagon, and, like, he's, like, uses his fear against him, he says.
Right.
And then kills him.
Yeah, because in the fight, Cal realizes that Dagon was doing something weird with the Force. And so you, like, realize it's the tapping into the fear thing, like you said, and you make it reflect that, like, Centauri Kree is really disappointed in him or something.
Yep.
And he's like, what? And that kind of lets his guard down, and then bam!
Yeah, kill him.
Kill him.
Yep.
And so Dagon's dead. No more boss fights with him. You killed him. Catch you later, dude.
Yeah, that's right.
But unfortunately, during the fight, this compass gets damaged. So you and Bode are injured, but you head back and see if Cordova can repair it. Before your boss fight with Dagon talks about how he wants to go to Tanalorr to raise up an army. If he made an army in secret, he could come back and fix the galaxy. But because Dagon is evil, it still sort of seems like the plan of, like, well, if I did things a bad way to get the right thing, then it would be okay. Like,
yeah, Cal says we already have one emperor.
Right.
Or we already have an emperor. It's like we don't need another one, basically.
Right.
She's like, that's probably what this would be that.
Right.
For sure.
Yeah, it would be taking one bad thing and just replacing it with a different one.
Yeah, the exact same bad thing, but called the Bedlam Raiders with
Right.
Zamper. Yeah, same
Right.
thing.
But Cal does think, Secret Army, though, that's not a bad idea. Bode, though, on the other hand, is like, no, we should just run away. If we do that, then we could be safe, and, who cares what happens out here? Kind of thing, as long as we're safe.
Yep.
So then you go back to Jeddah. Cordova's working on the compass. You get to have a bonfire with your crew. Cal and Bode bond. They have sort of a, like, we're brothers, we're together kind of thing. Cal and Marin kiss again. Their relationship, I think they're going for it. It sounds, there's a part where Cal's like, I know what I want.
Yeah.
And, like, that they're into each other. It sounds like maybe Cal was hesitant to do what he want.
Because there's, like, the Jedi, you're not allowed to, like, date / be married / have any, romantic relationships if you're a Jedi.
Okay.
Because, who knows why. Some Jedi thing, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Someone could write in and tell us, but yeah, I think he's like the order's gone, so we should do things differently.
I guess I could see the Jedi having some sort of code. I don't know this, so sorry people who know more than me. But just they like, oh, you can't have like attachment to like this for people because that will make you not do ultimate good or something like that.
That's probably what it is.
I would think that something like that. And you've seen that in this. So Cal kind of being, I think before he was more reverent of the Jedi Order and like we have to reestablish this exact same system. It was pure and great. And I think he's in this game. He's kind of going like, well, maybe it wasn't all right. Like there's a part earlier in the game where Bode gives him a gun, gives him a blaster, and is like, hey, you should use this. And Cal had before been like, I don't know, that seems a little sus. And
he's like, we're not supposed to use blasters.
Yeah, we should just use. Yeah, and that's basically what Bode says is why.
Yeah,
the Empire doesn't play by rules and. Cal's like, good point. If it helps us fight, then we should. Why would I say no to it? And so that becomes one of your stances. Is one where you could have a blaster and a lightsaber, which is kind of cool. But so I feel like that's an example, and then this one here of like, okay, well, I think a relationship is important to me. I would rather have this than not. And so you see Cal being willing to disregard some of the Jedi's teachings and stuff like that. I don't think haphazardly, but I think he's not just accepting them because maybe he felt like he was supposed to.
Yeah, I think he's chosen like they're no longer like relevant or something, or like not beneficial or important. I don't know.
Or the only thing, like like I think he would still care about the idea of raising up Jedi, or that the teachings have value, but that like. A person of the code. Like, I don't know that he's that anymore.
Yeah, or at least, not the full thing or letting people decide more.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
So, you get those, and I would say at this point in the game, you're feeling like, man, we're like figuring it out. We've got our crew. This could go okay.
Yeah, they're like talking about like, all right, tomorrow we're going to go to Tantalore and like, all of us and check this out. We're going to send the hidden path there. It's going to be great. Over. Yeah.
However, the next morning, while everyone's kind of talking, the Empire starts headed their way. They've found their location. Kind of the alarms are sounding. Everyone's like, all right.
Like a lot of the Empire.
Yeah. Yeah, huge forces coming. To your places, everyone sort of feel. Bode, though, is like, all right, I'm going to steal the key of the Tantalore. And so he kills you. Yeah, and you're like, what? You bad?
Yeah.
And in this, Bode kills, Cordova and takes the compass and heads off on a speeder bike.
Yeah. You're like, what the fuck?
Yeah, and you're like, what? Come on. So Cal hops on a speeder bike and chases after him. You get a chase, and then you sort of have a boss battle with Bode. In it, Bode is like, hey, I'm not a traitor like you think I am. I'm taking this so me and my daughter can go to Tantalore and be safe. And you're like, bro.
Yeah, like you've killed so many people.
Yeah,
like,
you.
Or at least you let the Empire come here and kill so many people.
Yeah, you brought the Empire here still. It's, gonna let all these people die. And you did kill, Cordova.
Yeah.
Cal doesn't say this, but you
literally killed him.
Yeah, you actually killed him.
You blew him up with a bomb thing. And you tried to kill all of us.
And so in the confrontation, though, then Bode force pushes you. And
Yeah.
like, what?
Yeah. Did not expect that.
No. Yeah, that was cool.
Yep.
You discovered that Bode was a Jedi who had survived Order 66 also. And Bode ultimately knocks you off a cliff. So your boss battle is pretty short-lived. And instead you just kind of get knocked off the cliff and find out who he is.
Yep.
Then you switch over to playing as Seer.
This was crazy.
This was crazy. I didn't think Cal was dead.
I didn't either. But I thought, well, yeah.
Like I thought like it was maybe minorly possible, but I thought pretty unlikely. I was like, I don't think
I didn't think he was dead, but it just seemed once they switched here and playing as Seer, it's like, oh, this shit's bad. Like it's
the only thing
chaos. Jeez.
The only thing that made me think that Cal could have been dead, it was just so abrupt. I was like, maybe, but I thought that was like very slim. I was like, Cal's gonna wake up. So you're playing as Seer, like you said, total chaos. Like empires everywhere. You're like running through a war zone. Like you've got hidden path people trying to fight, getting killed.
Oh, it's getting yopped left and right. Yeah.
Yeah, it's wild. But as Seer, you get to kill a ton of Empire.
Oh yeah, Seer's pretty sweet. She's stronger than Cal for sure.
Yeah, totally. And so you kind of fight your way through the Empire. You're trying to kind of hold the line as much as you can, so as many people can escape as possible. In this, though, you do find someone who has the codes that you've gotten earlier, I think. You get them to BD1 and say, BD1, head off. I'll meet up with you later. You'll be okay. And BD1 runs off. And then Seer heads back to the archives to try to get some of the archives before she goes.
That's what she says, at least.
Yeah.
I think she...
Yeah, probably knew it was coming.
Yep.
And Darth Vader shows up.
Yeah, you're like, what the fuck?
Yep. Oh, man.
Yep.
And you've got a boss battle with Darth Vader. And you're losing, but you're holding your own, I'd say. Like, Darth Vader is sick.
I don't know.
You think you were winning?
I think you're winning till the very end. At the very end, you were definitely winning.
Yeah, I guess at the very end you were.
I think I think there's a moment where you're holding your own, but then you're winning the fight.
Yeah.
And you're like, once you bury him in like this fire rubble, and he pops out, and you're like, oh shit. But after that, I feel like you started winning, and then yeah, because you're fighting, then you knock him into the fire rubble, and you think it's over, right? Well, I assumed it wasn't, but
okay.
You knock him into the fire rubble, or you knock him into the archive.
It's like burning bookcases.
Yeah, then Seer like pulls down with the force and like lands on him like a bunch of rubble. Then he pops out. Then you fight him more, and then he's like hurt really bad. And then Seer like jumps at him in the air and like goes to like thrust at him with her lightsaber.
Right.
And he gets her and she doesn't get him.
Yeah.
And then he like limps off. He's like clearly like
messed up.
Really, almost dead or almost got killed.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Seer dies.
Yeah. So Seer is dead. Darth Vader heads off. And Cal finds out about this through like a Force echo. Because you experience playing it, but then I think it cuts to Cal at the spot. And he
right.
like gets the sense where he can, like he sees the cutscene.
Basically, yeah.
Basically,
you play as Seer, but you're actually Cal looking at it.
Well, and I guess that a lot of it you play as Seer and you did it, but then there's a point where it flips and Cal sees that. So after this, Cal and his crew want to go after Bode.
They're pissed.
Both because of what he's done, and we gotta get to Tanalorr still. And they realize that there's a locator beacon that Bode had on him. So they're like, all right, cool, we can figure out where you are from that. And you find out Bode is at this Imperial security base. And you're like, all right, cool, we can go there. And at first, Cal tries to go in quiet. Everyone, Marin puts like invisibility cloak almost.
Yeah, some kind of witch invisibility cloak spell.
Yeah, so they could get close but not be seen. And so Cal heads in, and he's trying to be quiet, and then he gets his cover blown, and he has to start killing.
Oh yeah, kills a lot.
Kills a lot of Imperial here. Is this the section where there's the Rick the Technician boss battle?
Yes.
That was so funny.
Yeah, there's a spot where you go through this hallway and there's like it's a grunt worker. His name's Rick the Technician. He's like, all right, let's go, and then you like one hit kill. It's so. I just force pushed him and killed him.
I think that's what I did too. It was like Rick the Technician, and he gets the boss battle bar. You're like, all right, cool, force pull, and then it's over. I laughed so hard. That was such a good joke by the developers.
I looked up like hardest boss battle in this game, and that was the hardest boss battle. So that was pretty funny.
That's hilarious.
It's not, but
that's so funny.
It's pretty funny.
Such a good joke by them. I laughed so hard.
Very goofy.
Yeah, really funny. The Imperial boss there, you knock out, you don't kill, but you get him to turn the alarm off, and then you sneak into a different officer's clothes, and that gets you to be able to make the last leg to get to Bode's quarters. And you get there, and you meet his daughter, Kata, who he's talked about before.
Yep.
You talked with her a minute. She's like, oh, my dad said to get ready before I go. And you have like a nice interaction. You can see she's a nice kid.
Yep, she's a good kid. Yep.
Yeah. Then Bode shows up, and you sort of have this standoff where you don't want Bode to go, and like even seem willing to let him like change his mind. And you're not gonna like kill him in front of his kid. And I think Bode also doesn't want to do anything in front of his kid either. So it's sort of this standoff, but. You find out Bode's backstory. You find out that he was a spy for the Jedi Council during Clone Wars. And so when things kind of went bad, Order 66, all that, he just kind of used his spy skills to just kind of blend into the background, not get caught. In that time, he got married and had a wife and a kid. Kata was born, but then the Imperials found out about him and tracked his location.
Kills his wife.
Kill his wife, and she buys them time to get away. And then ultimately, sometime after that, he made a deal with this Empire officer of this base that, hey, like, if you keep my daughter safe, I can like pull off whatever you want, kind of thing. And he's like, all right, well, as long as you're useful, I'll keep you safe. So Bode has kind of secured a like under the table deal. Obviously, the Empire wants all Jedis killed,
or Inquisitors.
Yeah, Inquisitors. That they want that done. And Bode is just kind of, I'm just a guy. I'm a bounty hunter sort of vibe, just hiding here. And then after this conversation, Bode ends up escaping, and. After this, Cal's like chasing after him. Bode escapes, but a bunch of Empire soldiers show up here. And Cal taps into the dark side of the Force.
Oh, yeah.
For the first time. And...
Goes nuts
and just wrecks everybody.
Yeah, pretty sweet.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. And, like, you get the sense of, like, I can't control myself sort of thing. Like, the danger of his power.
Yeah, it's, you kind of see, like, just be on the dark side. You just wreck people. It's insane. Yeah, very crazy.
Yeah. After this, you realize that Centauri's Kree's message acknowledges that there's another way.
Yeah, because you find this, like, message, like, something in Bode's quarters that's, like, has a message from her on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like what you're talking about, how there's, like, another way to Tanalorr.
Yeah, because it seems like you've maybe seen partials of it, maybe different partials. Maybe Bode had managed to construct the full one. And so you find out there's another way. And that is if you use the 3 arrays, so the forest array we'd found, but then there's one on the moon and one somewhere else.
There's also one on Kobo. Okay,
yeah.
Maybe.
Something like that. And so if you get them all essentially pointing at each other at the same area at the right coordinates, that could open up this wormhole, essentially. Yep. And that if you go through this wormhole, then that could take you to Tanalorr. And so you need someone to actually operate this from the outside to be able to open it and then go through. Which sounds like, from sort of the backstory, how Santari Khri and Dagon did it the first time, is Santari Khri was operating it and Dagon went through. Because through different force echoes, you sort of get that almost like not the same, but like if they were divers and like Santari Khri's on the boat and Dagon's hopping down and doing the dives, and then she's kind of making sure things are cool, and then he comes back.
Yeah, and then that's where they get the compass from. It's like, here's exactly how you get through that thing somehow.
Yeah, that he'd gone through and gotten the compass or whatever. So that's sort of how that had gone. So we head off to try this out. And so Grease, Marin, and Cal fly the Mantis into this black hole, essentially. And while they're in there, it's like super chaotic and dangerous. And essentially what happens is like Cal uses the Force to kind of protect them, and then has them hit hyperdrive, like jump into hyperspeed inside the thing with all this danger around. And they're like, we shouldn't do this. And he's like, no, this is how we get there. I know it. And Cal was right.
Yep.
They get through. And we arrive at Tanalorr. And we're trying to decide what to do. And we say, all right, Bode's here with his kid. We should give him a chance to surrender. Still, we've all experienced what it's like to have lost loved ones. It's bad. Losing your parents sucks. Like, that will be worse for her. So we don't want that if we can help it. And they all kind of agree, yeah, that's the better choice.
Yeah, because at this point, it's Cal and Marin. They go to fight Bode.
Yeah.
And they, obviously both lost everyone.
Yeah, both lost everyone because Marin's planet got wiped out with all her sisters and everything like that. And then Cal's never had anyone after Order 66, really.
Yep.
So they head in and they find Bode inside kind of the Jedi temple that was set up here. And Bode's not willing to listen. He's, why are you here? You're ruining this.
Yeah,
like,
and
the Empire will find us.
And his daughter's like, listen to them. Like,
yeah,
she's clearly on our side. Does not want whatever is going to happen.
Yeah, she thinks that her dad's off base. And he's just so fixated on like, I have to protect her, and I'll kill anyone or thing that would get in the way of that. Like, he's totally off the deep end on that idea. Enough so that when Cal and Marin move towards her, he like force pushes and breaks some stuff and actually knocks Kata over.
Yeah,
like,
he
and like, it's hurting people already. So you end up having a big boss fight with Bode. Part of the arena they're in basically like splits. So Kata's on the other side and Marin was, but then she comes over. So you have sort of a fight of mostly Cal versus Bode, but Marin is hopping in at different points kind of in the fight. And ultimately, Cal kills Bode. He shoots him with a blaster. After their lightsabers are both not destroyed, but just kind of knocked out of the battle. And then he shoots Bode a couple times and kills him, and is really sad about this.
Because he definitely didn't want to.
He didn't want to, but it was clear that Bode was too far gone.
Yeah. Well, there's a point at the end of the fight where like Bode has Cal in like a headlock and like is force choking Marin, and Cat is like, don't do it, and Cal's like, all right, and then like escapes, and then he shoots him and kills him. So it's like he gave him like 3 or 4 chances to stop, but he wasn't. So there's no other option.
That was the only choice. After this, there's a funeral for Bode, Seer, and Cordova. Seer and Cordova's bodies get picked up by them earlier on when they leave. And they do the like Viking funeral kind of thing where they're all on wood.
Light them on fire.
Yeah, light them on fire. And now they're going to prepare to get the hidden path here. Kind of an ultimate battle against the Empire. Raise Kata that was something in...
There's
it's like a force
vision, because Cal... like it's like Cal taps into the Force somehow, and Seer tells him, like, guide Kata, or Kata, or whatever. So, I bet she'll be like a future Jedi Force user thing, I assume.
Right.
Because Bode was, clearly.
Right, yeah, so I'm guessing she'll get, like, trained and maybe be his apprentice. But yeah.
Padawan.
Yeah, but now setting up for Game 3.
Yep, so they're definitely having a Game 3, right?
Yeah, I feel like it must be a trilogy.
It seems like it.
Which would, I think, be good.
Which would fit, because I wonder if this will coincide with kind of whenever other Star Wars things go down and the Empire goes away. This will kind of coincide with that.
Yeah.
And they'll, like, play somehow some integral role in attacking the Empire from, like, a different part of the galaxy.
Yeah, I wonder what that'd be interesting to see the timeline for this now, where it actually lines up.
Yeah.
Like, is it how much before A New Hope is this or not? Or whatever.
Yeah, or, like, if it's even during.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't know either.
Well, no, it can't. Oh, yeah, actually, we do know. Somewhat. Because we know if you, like, look at, like, Obi-Wan, the movie, or the TV show, it tells you how many years were between Order 66 and that. So you can kind of probably piece it together. I bet there's some, like, timeline online.
I bet there's a good online timeline.
Yeah. I bet this is somewhere that's not too far off.
Because Order 66, Episode 3, right?
Yeah. The very end of it.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
And then some X years pass, and then Obi-Wan starts, and then some more years pass, and then it's New Hope, right?
Yeah.
And then, so this is somewhere between 3 and 1. Right?
Yeah.
So, I don't know where.
Right. Yeah.
Well, I guess the first game is. This game might be. Who knows? It could be around 1.
Yeah.
Don't know.
Yeah, it could be similar timeline.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
Interesting, though.
Yeah, either way. Yeah, I'm curious what they'll do with that, but definitely cool there. So, on to general thoughts. We have anything that we haven't talked about? I think first one I have that I think is worth talking about is Bode being a bad guy. That was something that we both thought pretty early on. I definitely felt those vibes, even like kind of right when you meet him. Yeah. I sort of felt that way. I don't know if you felt that.
I did, yeah, because you find out, so the rest, like the prologue, or prologue, the rest of your crew besides Bode, you've been with them for a while. But Bode's like kind of newer.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you're kind of the black sheep. And then he's the only one that survives besides you. And then there's also a point where, like, him and, when you're escaping Coruscant, him and Bravo are flying. Bravo dies, but then he just kind of goes off by himself, and you're like, okay, if you show up again, you're bad.
Yeah.
And he shows up again, because he was being chased by, like, multiple TIE fighters.
Yeah.
It's like, you probably somehow were like, I'm an Imperial or whatever.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I definitely called that from the prologue.
Yeah, I'd felt that way, too. And I thought Bode's story was interesting. Like, I think him, like, wanting to do right by his daughter above all else. Good story. Makes sense. Him being a former Jedi. Cool. Unexpected. But I wish they would have, like, maybe cloaked him a little more in uncertainty. Because for me, the whole time, I was, like, because I had those suspicions, I was always kind of wondering if he was bad. Like, I feel like what could have been cool is if his crew, if he would have been around longer, but then, like, you know, maybe there's another crew member who survives who's loyal, but he's an asshole or does sketchy things. So you think that guy's bad, but really Bode's bad. Like, something like that could have been cool.
Yep.
If they would have had, like, another member survive where your distrust is placed there. Like, that misdirection, I think that would have been wise.
Yeah.
Because then I think the Bode reveal would feel more sad. Because you could tell how it was sad for them. Like, Cal and Bode both felt like best friends to each other. Like, Bode felt that way about Cal, even though he knew who he was.
Yeah, and he was going to eventually... Well, I feel like he didn't...
He didn't plan to betray Cal.
Until Cal decided, like, we're going to raise an army. He's like, oh, no, let's not do that. And then,
right, because I think Bode was, this isn't my fight.
Yep, he was much more like, I'm going to take Kata and
I'm going to get out.
Avoid all of this.
Yeah, which, I like, again, makes sense. I think that would make sense to feel that way as him.
Yep.
So I thought that was cool. I like that. I like that stuff, but I wish they would have made that mystery more because, like, both of them were clearly hurt by the situation they were ended up in. But I wish I would have felt that more. Like, I didn't feel betrayed because I was suspicious.
Yep.
I also think, I guess, with that, I mean, they gave him lots of chances to turn back, but if he wouldn't have killed Cordova, I feel like he, like, really could have turned back.
Yeah.
Like, but doing that was like your action was, like, it wasn't you brought the Empire here who did bad things. It's like, you actually killed him.
Yeah, you literally murdered this guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
You killed him.
which to me was,
up.
yeah, because, like, I could see even if he wouldn't have killed someone specifically, if you could be like, all right, we'll put you in jail for like a year or something. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
you could come back, but, like, I think killing, bad move by Bode.
Yeah, he messed up. I did like his motivation made sense, and I liked the like emotional turmoil that caused for Cal. It really kind of ruined the perfect ending. Otherwise, it would have been a perfect ending. They would have gone to Tanalor with all the hidden path and all their friends, and like there was no other way that would have happened at that point. So it was kind of necessary. Well, they made it necessary based on the story, but yeah. Yeah, unfortunate that it was kind of obvious. I don't know if that's just obvious to everyone, or if we just played enough video games and watched enough TV and we're like, all right, we can see like that you're setting us up for this. I don't know. I'm not saying we're like TV geniuses or something, but I don't know, maybe cynical enough to be like, this guy's bad.
No, that's a good question. I guess if people who played, if you felt that way, I would like to know that, or you didn't, because I wish I was surprised. You know. But I thought that individually, and then we were talking, you're like, and then you said, I think he's bad, and I was like, I also think that.
Yeah, he's bad.
Which made me feel more sure that it was true. If we both thought it individually, I was like, okay, then it's probably true.
Bad. Yeah.
This is probably true.
Yeah, because there's a point in the prologue where he's like, I'm doing this for my daughter. And like, okay, she's like, my first thought was like, all right, she's captured somewhere by the Empire, and you're like working for the Empire, and you're doing this to rescue her. And it's kind of close.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, one thing too I liked was this transition, if that's cool.
Yeah.
It was like the different combat options in this. There was like 5 different lightsaber stances. You had like the single, double, dual wielding, the you could hold like a really big lightsaber.
Yeah.
Then you had like the gun and the lightsaber. What were and you could use 2 at once. So what were your favorite 2 that you used the most?
I used the double lightsaber a lot.
Is that like
where they're connected?
The Darth Maul.
Yeah, the Darth Maul.
Cool.
I used the Darth Maul a lot. When I got the gun, I tried to use that for a bit just to kind of try it out because it was different. And then I used the dual a bit too.
Yeah, nice.
I used the single, obviously, in the beginning when you didn't have as many.
Yeah.
I used that some. I only used the big lightsaber like when they first gave it to you to try it out, but I didn't really like it.
It's too slow.
Yeah, I felt like it was too slow too because the way I played, I felt like I played pretty fast. Where I would like, even diving into crowds where you had like the double lightsaber and just like kind of moving, parrying everywhere. Like I felt like I moved so much, so that one didn't feel like a fun one to use. Like it slowed. It felt too slow.
That makes sense
for how I fought. What about you?
It's exact same. I used. I tried the gun for like a hot second, but I didn't like the. I'm a purist, I don't like the gun. I want to kill people with I want to kill people in half, not shoot them.
Sure.
So I used the double. And then like the dual wield too.
Okay.
So for most of the game I used the dual wield, but then after a while I tried the double. Played like Darth Maul and was like, this is sweet.
Okay.
So I ended up doing that. Towards the end, except for boss fights. For boss fights I used the dual wield. Because based on like the little like bar graph it gave you, it had the most power. Besides the 2-handed one, but that was too slow.
Okay.
So
no,
so I did.
That's cool. I probably was double lightsaber Darth Maul. Maybe like 60% of the game. I use that a lot.
Okay.
Probably for like a whole chapter, I did try to use the gun one just to sort of test it out, but
never clicked.
Yeah, I didn't like it as much, and then I switched to using the dual instead as my other one with the double.
So we were like kind of just slightly reversed.
Slightly reversed, yeah. No, both of those were cool though.
Yeah, If I had to play again, I think I would use the single more. Because after like single and then like double bladed, not the two. Mm-hmm. I think I would probably use those.
Yeah.
I don't know why. It just seems cool.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Let's see. Oh, one thing I found out about while I was researching after playing is that there's a Star Wars novel called Battle Scars that takes place between Fallen Order and Survivor.
Like a legitimately like with these characters.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, that someone wrote. So
cool.
I might have to check it out. I don't know.
That's cool.
Yeah. So at least you can get some of that info filled in if you want it, because there are times where Marin or Cal or whatever are referencing other times about things they've done, and I suspect that some of those references, the book fills out what they are.
Probably.
But, yeah, so I don't know. If I want more time with them, maybe I'll read that book before... the
third game.
Whatever the third game is.
Yep. That's cool. I didn't know that was a thing.
Yeah.
I have two more pieces of feedback, or general thoughts. One... these are kind of critiquey, I guess, but one, so like the whole game you're trying to find these like compasses to get to Tanalorr, and then at the very end you find out there's like a third way to get there, or a second way to get there.
Right.
I find it kind of feel like a loophole,
yeah,
to some extent. So that was a little like, it wasn't super easy to get there because you still had to, you almost like died doing it. So it wasn't like, oh, here's this super easy, you just fly through type way, because that was it. Like, the whole 90% of the game was a waste of time.
Just kidding, it's behind this door.
Yeah, you could have done this like the first 2 minutes of the game. But it was a little bit of a kind of like, of course there's another way to get there.
Right.
So that was a little, I kind of felt like plot armor to some extent for like the story just to work out how it should. I don't know.
Yeah, it is a little, like, it could feel a little bit like, oh, wait, there's another way.
Yeah.
You're like, eh. I mean, I guess that's how it got found the first time, right? Like,
yeah, it is.
So it, like, at least makes sense from that level. Mm-hmm. And I guess that even if you go through the beam or, like, the black hole, I'm guessing if you don't know how to use the Force,
you're probably
just die.
You're going to get destroyed by all that little...
meteors,
dark matter,
whatever.
There's like this weird like Kobo. I don't know what they call it, Kobo matter or abyss matter or something.
Yeah,
it's
so
like,
I wonder if like you're a regular person, if you have to have a compass, like the hidden path, like unless you take the compass to them, and say, hey, I'll be in your ship and we'll use this, like you just die. Yeah,
because that's what they end up getting the compass from Bode, so they like have it. Also, I don't really know what the compass does. I know it gets them through the abyss, but I don't... Is it like... Maybe it navigates the ship for you?
Yeah, maybe.
Maybe it like blocks all the shit from hitting you? I don't know. They don't really ever...
Yeah, they don't explain how it works.
Which is... I mean, that doesn't really matter at all. I don't really care about that.
Yeah, but it seems like it just somehow makes you able to travel safely.
Yeah, which is... I mean, you're
accurately.
Flying through space through this abyss, it doesn't... the compass doesn't need to make sense because none of it makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, scientifically with what we know about things. But.
Yeah. I wonder if you can make more compasses, I would assume, like while you're at Tanalorr.
Maybe not, because Cordova knew how to fix them, but no one else knew how to do it.
Well, I mean, like whatever. I would assume that there's some sort of like not Tanalorr dirt, but if you put Tanalorr dirt in this compass, then that's what makes you able to go through. Like. More sophisticated than that, obviously, but
maybe not.
But I would think it would have to be something like that, because, like, I would think a danger, and probably how the next game will start, is you probably have a very limited number of these compasses, right? You don't want anyone getting to Tanalorr. Mm-hmm. But if someone were to steal one, that obviously could compromise Tanalorr, which is what Bode was really worried about.
Yep, the whole time, which makes sense.
Which makes sense, and is good, because his thought, I'm the only one who has this compass, and I go here, we good.
Yep. And just stay here.
Yeah, and we could just stay here. And I guess if I left, I'm still the only one with it. As long as I don't get killed or lose it, then I'm still the only one who knows how to get here. And I feel like that would be a challenge, because I can't imagine that Cal is going to be like the only one who brings people to and from Tanalorr.
Probably not.
So I'm guessing that like
you have to make at least 1, 2 more.
Yeah, I imagine that would be there. Okay, there are a small amount that only a certain number of people are allowed to have. But I would guess if the game would go how I would think it would, is that Tantalor's going to get found early in the next game and disrupt what they have going.
Yep. Probably.
As a like way, which would make sense. I feel like, you start off and you have this really cool thing going, and then boom, it's getting fucked
Empire's
up.
here.
Empire's here because, someone left the the compass in the bathroom.
Yep.
Or
they were plastered at the local cantina.
Right, yeah. Or whatever, or, a different trader or something. I don't know. But...
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It's interesting. But I agree. I feel like it would be... It does feel a little convenient. It makes sense, which makes me accept it a little more, but it does feel convenient.
Yeah, I definitely am, like, okay with it, but it's kind of like, all right, of course.
Yeah, right. Well, yeah, it wasn't, oh, well, I guess we're not going to Tantalor.
I don't know. Part of me was like, maybe they'll just, Bode just wins.
Yeah.
Just gets to Tantalor. And,
yeah, no one else goes.
yeah, and then somehow the next game's like,
Something
them
else.
trying to get to Tantalor. So it's just been annoying.
There's got to be another compass.
Yeah, there's one more.
There's one more, we know it.
Yeah. But the Emperor has it. Oh, God damn it.
We got to go kill him.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, that would be crazy. Last really minor thing. I wish force powers were actually useful in boss fights. You couldn't really... You could, like, throw your lightsaber and do some other stuff, but you couldn't really, like, pull or push.
Yeah.
But you could get pulled or pushed, which was kind of annoying. So it was like... I don't know. Cal just seemed kind of weak in boss fights sometimes, but he actually wasn't. So I think they, like... I don't know how they would have done that to make it reasonable, because I would have just force push people off the edge if I could.
Right.
But yeah, I think that in boss fights, the only thing that really matters is lightsaber. That's all.
Right.
So it was kind of a bummer.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, and that's a tough one, because like, if you're boss fighting Dagon or whatever, like, okay, he has more force than you, like, so it could make sense, like, if you're like, all right, no one's using force then, like, but they used force too, like, it didn't stop it, or like, I don't know, you had boss fights sometimes with like Bedlam Raider Lieutenant. You're like, I could definitely force push you. Come on.
Yeah, but they'll like...
You don't even know the force.
Yeah, you'll try to like pull them towards you, and they'll like dig their thing into the ground.
Yeah.
Or you like force push them, and they're like, nah, I'm not moving.
Yeah.
No way.
Yeah, I agree. I thought that was a little bit of a bummer of like, especially that like, it made me like the regular fighting in groups of people more than the boss fights. Which, I don't know. Not that they're all that way, but like, versus I'd say a boss fight that did it really well, what we were talking about, Ghost of Tsushima. Those boss fights were really, really cool. And sure, they did change a little bit how you fought compared to like random people, but it felt more...
It used all the gameplay mechanics, kind of.
Yeah, it still used all of that, and you still... Not feeling nerfed, because I don't think you're nerfed in this necessarily, but a little bit nerfed.
Yeah,
in regards to force.
Force stuff just didn't really work. Which kind of makes sense, because I don't know how you really nerf. How do you nerf a force push without making it, or like without where it's like the intermediate force push? You know, it's like either you're like getting launched or you're not at all.
Yeah, and I feel like if it was just, I know you couldn't say it in his exposition because it would be silly if like Dagon was like, all right, we're dueling, no force here. Like you can't call it out that way. But I think if you had the understanding of like, we both are force using people, no one can use force in this fight, I think I could accept that. Like, because if he could force push you, then he would just force push you off it. Like...
Yeah, which he does force push you, though.
Yeah, I feel like they shouldn't have let him use the force in the fights. Like...
Yeah, or if they, like, would somehow, like, if it was like a...
Just because if you can't, it seems weird.
But if there was some, like, alert that he was going to do it, like some, like, Jedi instinct.
No, then
you
you
would
have
force
to parry.
push back, and you would, like, parry it or something.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool. Because there's various, like, where you, like, hit, like, square a bunch or whatever, and you're, like, breaking out of some force thing. You, like, do the force back. Like, there's a point where, like, Bode's choking you. And you, like... reverse it on him and like push him.
Yeah.
It's like you use the force, it's just in the cutscene, like the quick time events.
Yeah.
But never in the actual like fights.
Yeah, the fight.
Unless you throw your lightsaber, I think that was the only.
Huh. Yeah.
Thing.
That's.
So I don't know how they would have done it, but I think I would have liked for them to try to figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. There's still a little more because I definitely it made my fighting different, but also it made me enjoy, like, my favorite fighting was definitely if I could find a group of stormtroopers. And then I was like, all right,
Just cut through you guys.
it's on.
Yeah.
You know, those were like my favorites, which fortunately there's a lot of them. So like,
yeah.
this was a game where, like, on Jeddah, when you're walking around the deserts, when you'd see like the ATST and then like 5 guys walking around, I always went towards them. I was like,
Yeah.
oh yeah,
I'm gonna kill you guys.
I'm gonna kill all of you.
Y'all are done.
Yeah, because you're here, I'm gonna kill you. Like, which, you know, other times in games I'm like trying to avoid fights because I'm like,
Combat was really fun.
But combat was so fun in this that, you know, I was not avoiding fights. I was going towards them.
Yeah, and the boss fights were definitely enjoyable and challenging. I just wish they would have had more, like, you could have used your force powers more. Because it kind of felt, all the force powers was for, like, the normal game, and then boss fights was all just, like, how good are you at, like, lightsaber battling? That was all that really mattered.
Yeah.
Just fine, I guess.
Yeah. Oh, actually, a critique I didn't write down, but I do think is, I thought the bad guys in the first game were better than the bad guys in this game. So in the first game, you had like the second sister as your like main foe. She was awesome. You had Darth Vader show up at the end. Holy shit. This time around, like, Dagon and Ravis, I both felt like were kind of like, whatever. I don't really care about either of you.
Yeah.
That much. And Darth Vader showing up again was cool, but obviously since they did it before, it didn't feel the like, holy fuck.
I was surprised. I wasn't like, oh, it's Darth. I was just kind of like, oh, it's Darth Vader again.
It didn't feel the same way.
Yeah.
So I feel like I enjoyed their villains more in that. I mean, I guess Bode's a bad guy, too. And I did like him. So I feel like they did him well, overall, other than that we knew, like we talked about. But he was at least interesting. But like Ravis and Dagon, I was just like, Dagon was important because we learned about Tanalorr, not because he was that interesting of a bad guy to me. And Ravis less so even, you know.
I mean, Ravis was pretty minor.
Yeah. He was pretty. You just fought him more than once.
Yeah, they were like he was necessary for the plot, but he wasn't. I don't know. Yeah, it wasn't much more than that. I agree.
But yeah, that was something I did like more in the other game. I just thought I was super interested in the second sister since she was Seer's apprentice and all of those things as you find out. But yeah, I thought she was way more interesting. So
agreed.
Yeah. I know, I guess also, we did just say negative things a little bit at the end. I would say that those are more on the nitpick side than major things. I would say, in the overall sense, this game is still more and better than the previous one. Also, I guess we didn't talk about this either. There are lots of like little things you can do if you wanted to. They're available. You mentioned like the bounty hunter thing. So there's someone who gives you bounty hunter list on a bounty hunter who gives you bounties on other bounty hunters. Essentially, who you could go boss fight. There's a garden on top of Grease's Cantina where if you wanted to go all Animal Crossing on things, you could. There's something else that
there's like music. You can do like music. You can recruit the fish tank.
Yeah. There's a lot of side quest kind of throughout the worlds too.
Yeah.
Which I think there was side quest in the first game, but this one felt like there were more.
I don't remember there being side quests in the first one.
Maybe there wasn't. I might be wrong.
This had like legitimate, or like it had like rumors. Like you could check out this place on the map, and then something would happen.
There was one I did where I killed a Rancor.
Yeah, me too. That was crazy.
The miner was lying to us to try to get us to open up a mining spot.
Yep.
But yeah, you kill a Rancor, which is crazy.
Yeah, that shit was. I remember, I tried that for a long time. I was like, this thing's hard to kill.
Yeah, that was wild. But yeah, so there's a lot there. Anyway, I think all this to say, I probably played roughly like the normal amount. I didn't do tons of side stuff. I did a little bit. But there was a lot in this game that was cool. There are a lot of things I liked. I think really my main critiques would be the couple things we mentioned. So, I mean, they made a really good game. And I'm excited for the third one. Yeah,
me too. Like the critiques are minor. I would still play this game again and be happy playing it again.
Yeah.
I think it's just kind of like, I mean, I played a lot of games seen a lot of stuff, and like I wish this stuff would have been slightly different, but nothing is perfect. This game's not perfect, but it's a lot of fun.
Yep. Yeah. Awesome. Cool. I guess from here we can head into our listener feedback. We've got a few. First up, we've got Eli on Twitter, who said, definitely one of my games of the year. Huge improvement from Fallen Order, which was already an amazing game. I agree. I think that really fits with what we've been saying and what we felt about Fallen Order. I don't remember everything we said back then, but I do remember leaving really liking it and it being probably both of one of our favorite games we played that year.
Oh yeah, for sure. It's a great game. I mean, I'd go back and play it again. Like I feel like these two games are games I would like. I'd play Fallen Order, then I'd play Survivor again, just over the course of probably a month or something.
Yeah,
and I would enjoy it.
Totally.
Yeah, they're great.
I agree.
Daniel on Twitter, not you, I assume. It says I'll copy and paste my review from Metacritic later, but I gave it a 6.5 out of 10, which is an all right score. So yeah, I mean, that's fair.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, and on Twitter, his Metacritic thing on there is there. So if you want to look at it, anyone, he does go more in depth about the kind of feel of it. If I remember right, he liked it more than Fallen Order, but it still didn't like wow him.
Yeah.
Which I can understand.
That's fair.
And then Chris on Twitter, finally, last person, has better than Fallen Order. So again, liking it more. So yeah, I'd say our sentiment probably most aligns with Eli's of we really liked Fallen Order, and then we also really like this. But yeah, that is Jedi Survivor.
Yep.
If you've got other thoughts on Jedi Survivor or want to talk more about it, hit us up. You can talk to me on Twitter at StoryEverPod. Our podcast can be found on anywhere you get podcasts, Spotify, Apple Podcast, wherever. There we've got a big backlog of episodes, including one on Fallen Order that we did a couple of years ago. So go check that out. If you'd like to support the podcast financially, you can at The Greatest Story at patreon.com/TheGreatestStoryEverPlayed. There for as little as $1 per month. That will get you monthly bonus access to episodes we do that are more topical in nature. So covering things inside and outside of video games. So a little while ago I did an episode comparing Tomb Raider and Uncharted and kind of ranking them. Last summer, I watched all of the Star Wars movies in order and then ranked them. So there's all that sort of stuff on there. So if that sounds interesting, go check that out. If you'd want to support the podcast but can't financially, rating and reviewing us on Spotify or Apple Podcast would be a big help, or just sharing it with a friend. I think just getting to share these games with people is truly the best part of this, getting to do that. So yeah, we'd love to engage more. And yeah, that's the episode, and we'll see you next time.
See ya.